The Erebus cut through the cosmic void like a predator, its hull dark and sleek, absorbing the faint light of distant stars. It was the spearhead of the human fleet, a juggernaut forged for survival in the harshest corners of the galaxy. Inside, the bridge hummed with tension. Admiral Eric Jones stood at the center, a pillar of calm authority amidst the controlled chaos. Around him, officers relayed data, voices clipped but steady, as the Achernar representatives quietly observed, their elongated forms shrouded in the muted glow of the ship's displays. Ahead, the Achernar system unfolded in all its chaotic glory. 3 stars, a white dwarf, a wolf rayet, and an orange K-type, danced an intricate, volatile ballet. Their gravitational interplay created a landscape of extremes, with bursts of radiation flaring unpredictably. The Achernar had tried to describe it, but words had failed to capture the reality. For the humans, it was both a scientific marvel and a tactical nightmare. Admiral Jones turned to Lieutenant Commander Mika Lane, who was stationed at the primary sensor array. "What's our status on navigation through this mess?" "Challenging, sir," Lane replied, his hands deftly adjusting the ship's compensators. "The gravitational interference is pushing our systems to their limits, but we're holding steady. No sign of hostiles." Jones nodded, his eyes narrowing as he studied the holographic display. "Keep it that way." Beside him, Dr. Fan, the head scientist of the mission, leaned closer to Major Faulkner. Her voice was a murmur, yet the concern in her tone was palpable. "This system, it's unlike anything we've encountered. The Achernar's survival here is nothing short of miraculous. Their planet orbits at a relatively safe distance from the stars, yet even that shouldn't be enough. The odds of life thriving here, it's beyond improbable." Faulkner nodded, his expression grim. "Let's hope our presence here doesn't turn that miracle into a catastrophe." Suddenly, alarms blared. The Erebus jolted as if struck by an unseen force. Lane's voice cut through the din, sharp and urgent. "Multiple signatures inbound. Zin vessels, close range. They've breached the sensor net." "How the hell?" Jones began, but he caught himself, his mind shifting to action. "Battle stations. Shields up. Activate protocol. Zin down." The bridge shifted into a well-rehearsed rhythm. This wasn't the first time humanity faced the Zin, and the strategy honed from the last conflict kicked into high gear. "Engage adaptive countermeasures," Jones barked. "Target their formation gaps and cycle ECM patterns. They thrive on coordination. Disrupt it." The tactical display erupted with red markers. Zin ships, their hulls a menacing amalgamation of sleek curves and angular protrusions, appeared to shimmer as they emerged from the gravitational turbulence of the system. Their surfaces seemed almost liquid, absorbing the light around them, while faint energy ripples betrayed an advanced cloaking mechanism. Moving with an eerie precision, the Zin fleet struck like a coordinated predator, their plasma fire concentrated and unrelenting. The Erebus and its surrounding human ships were bombarded in synchronized volleys, each impact a calculated attempt to cripple critical systems. "Impact on Deck 14, an officer shouted. "Shields at 68% and falling." "Focus on countermeasures," Jones barked. "Deploy fighters to cover our flanks. We hold this line, no matter the cost." The Achernar vessels, though lightly armed, maneuvered behind the human fleet, their smaller ships darting like fish seeking shelter. On board the Erebus, the Achernar representatives stood in tense silence, their iridescent scales reflecting the dim glow of the bridge's displays. Their bioluminescent patches pulsed faintly, a rhythm of fear and cautious observation. Volander, their leader, murmured in their native tongue, a sound like rustling leaves carried on a breeze. Dr. Fan caught enough to translate. "They fight as if the stars themselves are their allies." Lieutenant Tomash broke in, his tone urgent. "Admiral, the Zin are targeting our cruisers. We've lost the Raptor and the Orion. Casualty reports incoming." Jones's expression darkened as the display marked the locations where the ships had fallen. The Raptor's destruction had left a gaping hole in their formation, its last transmission a desperate cry for reinforcement before it disappeared into a burst of blinding plasma. The Orion followed moments later, torn apart by concentrated fire, its debris scattering like a metallic scream across the void. A heavy silence fell over the bridge, broken only by the muted gasps of junior officers processing the enormity of the loss. Jones steadied himself. "Damn it! All units, reform the line. Push them toward the Wolf Riot's gravity well. Lane, coordinate the fleet's positioning." "Yes, sir," Lane said, his fingers a blur over the console. The holographic display shifted as the fleet adjusted, herding the Zin ships toward the volatile region near the star. The Erebus unleashed a barrage of particle cannon fire, its weapons cutting through the void with devastating precision. Several Zin ships exploded, their debris scattered like ashes on the solar wind. But the enemy adapted quickly, their vessels shifting tactics to exploit the humans' losses. "We're being flanked," an officer called out. "Starboard side." Jones turned to Major Faulkner. "Deploy the reserves. Bring the Blackguard online and target their flagship. We end this now." The Blackguard fighters launched from the Erebus like a swarm of hornets, their sleek frames slicing through the battlefield. They converged on the Zin flagship, bombarding it with precision strikes. The enemy vessel shuddered under the assault, its shields flickering before collapsing entirely. Moments later, a concentrated barrage from the Erebus tore it apart in a brilliant explosion. "Flagship down!" Tomasz announced, a rare note of triumph in his voice. Jones allowed himself a brief moment of relief. "All units, press the attack. Push them back. No quarter." The tide turned rapidly. The Zin formation disintegrated as their coordination faltered. Human ships closed in, exploiting every weakness with ruthless efficiency. Within minutes, the battlefield was littered with the wreckage of Zin vessels. As the last enemy ship detonated, silence fell over the bridge. The only sounds were the hum of the Erebus's systems and the labored breathing of its crew. Jones surveyed the damage, his expression grim. "Status report," he ordered. "We've sustained heavy losses," Lane replied. 4 destroyers and 2 cruisers gone, casualties in the hundreds. But we're intact, and the Achernar fleet is unharmed. Jones nodded slowly. "A hard-fought victory. Begin recovery operations, and someone figure out how the Zin were able to approach unnoticed." Dr. Fahn stepped forward, her face pale but determined. "Admiral, this attack, it wasn't random. They wanted to stop us from reaching the Achernar system." Jones met her gaze, his tone grim but resolute. "The first time, we had the full weight of Earth's defenses and resources on our side. We fought them off with minimal losses because the odds were in our favor. Here, it's just us, a single fleet and the lessons we've learned. We can't afford a single misstep." "Stay sharp," Jones repeated, his voice a low growl as his gaze lingered on the wreckage scattered across the void. "If they came at us this hard to stop us, it means we're closer to something they don't want us to find." He paused, the weight of his next words pressing down on the bridge like a physical force. "And that means we're not done here, not by a long shot." The gravitational ballet of the White Dwarf, the Wolf Riot, and the orange K-type star was a chaotic masterpiece, each celestial body hurling radiation and vying for dominance. Amidst them, the Erebus drifted deeper into the Achernar system, its hull bathed in the surreal interplay of light from the 3 stars, painted in shifting hues of blue, gold, and violent crimson, a testament to the system's volatile nature. Admiral Jones stood resolute at the bridge's central console, his expression etched with a mixture of awe and calculation. Around him, the crew worked with grim determination, their voices hushed as though the sheer majesty of their surroundings demanded reverence. The Achernar representatives observed silently, their bioluminescent patches dimmed, their usually fluid movements subdued. Even for them, this was not an ordinary sight. "Radiation levels are spiking again," Lieutenant Commander Mika Lane reported, his hands deftly adjusting the Erebus's compensators. "We're approaching a threshold where the ship's shielding will start to struggle." Jones nodded. "Keep us stable. Dr. Fan, what are we looking at? The scientist, stationed at her console, didn't look up. Her focus was entirely on the flood of data streaming across her display. Admiral, the radiation here is unlike anything we've modeled. The interplay of the three stars creates pockets of hyper-energetic zones, but there's something else, something organized in the signal patterns. It's almost as if... She paused, her eyes narrowing, fingers flicking switches and turning dials. As if what? Jones pressed, his tone edged with impatience. As if there's interference, anomalies in the waveforms that can't be explained by natural phenomena. It's too precise. Jones's expression hardened. Could this interference be artificial? It's possible, Fan admitted, glancing at the Achernar leader, Volander. The alien's translucent eyes reflected the glow of her console as he inclined his head, his silence an implicit invitation to continue. Their planet's survival here is already improbable. If something, or someone, has been mitigating the radiation for millennia, we may be looking at the reason why. Before Jones could respond, an officer called out, "Admiral, sensors are picking up a structure near the Wolf-Rayet star." "A satellite, sir." Jones turned sharply. "On screen." The tactical display shifted, revealing a jagged object orbiting perilously close to the violent star. Its surface shimmered faintly, reflecting and refracting the harsh light in patterns that defied natural geometry. For a moment, the bridge was silent as the crew processed what they were seeing. "That's no moon," Lane muttered under his breath. "It's artificial," Fan confirmed, her voice steady despite the weight of her revelation. "And based on these readings, it's ancient." Volander stepped forward, his bioluminescent patches dimming further, his voice a low murmur, translated automatically through the ship's systems. "Our records describe no such structure. For generations, we believed it to be a natural satellite, a remnant of the system's violent formation." His gaze lingered on the display, his posture stiff with unease. "If this is truly artificial, it means we have been blind to the truth of our own skies." "Well, it's not natural," Jones said, his tone hard. "And if it's tied to the radiation interference, it's the key to whatever's happening here. Mika, I want detailed scans. Find out everything you can." "Yes, sir," Lane replied. He keyed in commands with quick, practiced motions. As the Erebus maneuvered closer, the satellite's features became clearer. Its surface was a patchwork of darkened alloys and intricate patterns, etched as though by a long-forgotten hand. Large segments of the structure appeared inactive, the once glowing conduits now cold and lifeless. But beneath the layers of age and neglect, faint pulses of energy remained, a heart still beating, albeit faintly. "Admiral," Lane said, his voice tense, "we're detecting energy signatures from the satellite. It's dormant but active, if that makes sense. Something's keeping it operational." "Could it be Zintech?" Faulkner asked from his station. Fan shook her head. "No. Zin technology relies on fluidic systems and adaptive architecture. This is something else. Something much older." Jones's eyes narrowed. "Older than the Zin?" Fan hesitated, then nodded. "Possibly." Before Jones could issue further orders, an alert chimed. The bridge fell silent as everyone turned to Lane. "Admiral," he said, his tone grim, "we're picking up gravimetric distortions near the black hole. Something's shifting its energy output." "That shouldn't happen naturally," Fan whispered to herself, her eyes fixed on the data. "Radiation changes should be gradual, but this is sudden." "The black hole is already unstable," Lane added. "If something is influencing its behavior, it means we're not just dealing with the remnants of ancient tech," Jones interrupted. "We're dealing with active interference." "Admiral," Volander said, his voice measured but firm. "If this satellite and its counterparts are the cause of our world's suffering, then uncovering its secrets may be the only way to save us." Jones nodded. "We'll find out what it's doing, and if we can, we'll stop it. Mika, position the Erebus in a defensive orbit around the satellite. Dr. Fan, prepare a team to begin remote analysis. I want every piece of information we can extract. Lane glanced at his readings, a flicker of unease crossing his face. Admiral, if there's one satellite here, there could be more. Jones didn't hesitate. Then we find them. Whatever it takes, we solve this mystery. And if the Zin come back, we'll be ready for them. The bridge buzzed with renewed activity as the crew prepared for the next phase of their mission. Outside the viewing ports, the satellite loomed, a relic of an unknown past. The black hole pulsed ominously, its gravitational whispers reaching their sensors like a warning. For all their technological prowess, even humanity had limits, and few dared to test them against the relentless pull of a star's death. Jones stared at the satellite, his mind racing through the possibilities. Whatever secrets it held, they were closer than ever to uncovering them. But the question lingered. At what cost? He exhaled slowly, his gaze shifting to the command console. "Hold position," he ordered. The Erebus maintained its defensive orbit around the enigmatic satellite, its hull braced against the relentless radiation flooding from the Wolf-Rayet star. On board, the tension was palpable. Admiral Jones stood near the tactical display, his arms crossed tightly as streams of data scrolled across the screen. Dr. Fan and her team worked feverishly, their consoles a symphony of light and sound as they dissected every detail of the satellite's design and function. "Admiral," Fan began, her voice strained. "The satellite's structure is functioning like a precision mirror, redirecting and amplifying radiation from the stars into carefully controlled patterns." Jones leaned closer. "And this interference, how does it tie into the Achernar planet?" Fan pointed to a highlighted section of her display. "The planet's orbit passes directly through the most intense zones of the satellite's influence. If we're right, it's been modulating the radiation levels for centuries, maybe millennia, driving significant adaptations in the life forms on Achernar planet. But something, or someone, has altered its output." Major Faulkner joined the conversation, his tone skeptical. "If this thing was built to affect the system, why mess with it? What's the end game here?" "That's what we're trying to figure out," Fan replied. "We're running simulations to determine the extent of its interference and what exactly it's altering. Whatever its purpose, it's been changed, and we need to know why." Jones nodded, his expression grim. "Keep at it. If this satellite is key to saving the Achernar, we need answers, and we need them fast." The bridge crew's focus was momentarily disrupted by an incoming transmission. A sharp tone signaled the priority message, and the display flickered to reveal Admiral Murphy, her face set with grim determination. She stood in the command center of Earth's orbital defense platform, the backdrop alive with the bustle of tactical preparations. "Admiral Jones," she began, her voice carrying the clipped precision of a seasoned strategist. "We've got a situation. Zin forces have launched a full-scale assault on the Sol system. Our orbital defenses are holding, but the scale of their attack is staggering. We've already lost several key installations, and the civilian casualty reports are climbing. They're not just testing us, they're trying to break us." Jones stiffened. "What's the damage?" Murphy's expression darkened. "Significant. We're holding the line for now, but this isn't a random strike. They're testing our limits, probing for weaknesses. And based on what we've seen, it's not just about Sol. This is connected to your mission." Jones's eyes narrowed. "You're certain?" Murphy nodded. "The timing is too precise to be a coincidence. Whatever you found out there, the Zin don't want us touching it." "Understood." Jones straightened, his voice calm but firm. "We'll be ready for them." Murphy's gaze softened slightly, though her tone remained firm. "I'm sending you everything we've gathered on their fleet movements. Use it wisely. And Jones, don't underestimate them. The first time we faced the Zin, we were at home, ready and fully prepared. Out there, you're on your own." "Copy that," Jones replied. "Good luck, Admiral." Murphy's image faded, leaving the bridge in tense silence. Jones turned back to his crew, his voice cutting through the unease. "Lane, I want constant sensor sweeps. If the Zin are coming, we'll see them before they see us. Faulkner, tighten our defensive perimeter. Assume this satellite is the objective and plan accordingly. Yes, sir, both men replied in unison. Meanwhile, Fan's team continued their work, highly focused on the task, despite the looming threat. One of the junior scientists, a pale, wiry man named Ziegler, called out from his station. Doctor, I've completed the first set of simulations. If we adjust the satellite's internal mechanisms, we can redirect the radiation flow and stabilize the system. And if we can't adjust them remotely? Fan asked without looking up. Ziegler hesitated. Then we'd need a direct interface, a manual override. Fan's brow furrowed. That close to the Wolf-Rayet star? It's a suicide mission. Not necessarily, Ziegler replied, his voice gaining confidence. We could deploy a shielded drone to handle the adjustments. It'd be risky, but it might work. Jones, overhearing the exchange, approached. Risky or not, it's an option we'll keep in reserve. Keep running those simulations and prepare a deployment plan for the drone just in case. A sudden alarm cut through the bridge's focused hum. Lane's voice rang out, sharp and clear. Admiral, we've got incoming. Zin ships. Multiple signatures closing fast. The Erebus braced itself as sensors lit up with a cascade of hostile signatures. The Zin fleet, larger and more aggressive than before, had entered the Achernar system with terrifying speed, their formation a wall of jagged, obsidian death. Plasma fire erupted across the void, casting eerie shadows against the backdrop of the system's 3 suns. Contact confirmed, Lieutenant Commander Mika Lane reported. Approximately 2 battle groups. They're flanking us. Admiral Eric Jones remained steady, his sharp gaze locked on the tactical display. Battle stations. Volander, bring your ship into a defensive wedge behind our cruisers. Achernar vessel, need to hold formation. Volander, standing to the side of the command console on the Erebus, gave a slow nod. The Achernar captain's iridescent scales shimmered faintly under the bridge's dim light. His voice was calm but edged with a resolve honed by their shared battles. Thalassa has her orders. I will direct her movements from here. We'll hold the line and buy you time. Neris, the Achernar science officer, hovered near Dr. Fan. Her bioluminescent patches pulsed in quick succession, signaling her agitation. Admiral Jones, the Zin's behavior is far more coordinated than before. Their approach vectors suggest a deliberate attempt to overwhelm our primary defenses. They may also attempt to target the satellite directly. Jones grimaced. Let them try. They'll find we're not so easily broken. Lane, deploy Blackguard squadrons. Faulkner, align our artillery cruisers for counter-battery fire. We're not here to lose. As orders rippled across the Erebus, the Zin attack began in earnest. Streams of plasma arced through the battlefield, their deadly brilliance illuminating the chaotic interplay of ships. The human fleet responded with precision. Fighters swarmed out of the Erebus like wasps, their compact forms weaving through the dense web of enemy fire to deliver concentrated strikes against Zin vessels. They're targeting our frigates, an officer shouted. Reposition the Artemis and the Solace to cover the gap, Jones barked. Faulkner, deploy the reserve destroyers to plug any flanking attempts. Keep the Achernar ships shielded. The Achernar vessels, led by Thalassa aboard their flagship, maintained tight formation, their smaller ships darting nimbly to avoid enemy fire. Volander monitored their movements through a secondary console, his expression betraying no hint of doubt. When a plasma burst glanced off one of their vessels, he issued rapid commands in his native tongue, his voice low and firm. Neris leaned over to Fan, her voice a soft murmur. Their coordination is unnerving. The Zin are testing every angle. Fan nodded, her eyes fixed on her console. That's what makes them dangerous. But we've learned how to fight them. The battle raged on, the Erebus and its fleet adapting to the Zin's relentless assaults. Every move by the enemy was met with a countermeasure, tactics born from bitter experience and the ingenuity of humanity's best. When the Zin attempted to disrupt the fleet's formation with concentrated fire on the Erebus's port side, Jones anticipated their strategy. "Adjust shield harmonics to disperse the energy," he ordered. "Lane, redirect fire to their lead ships. Break their formation." The Erebus's weapons unleashed a blistering salvo, particle cannons tearing through the sleek hulls of the Zin ships. The flagship shuddered but held, its reinforced shielding absorbing the brunt of the attack. Explosions blossomed across the void as the enemy's forward line faltered, their coordination unraveling. "Direct hit," Lane called out, his voice tinged with triumph. "Their lead ship is down." Jones gave a curt nod. "Good. Now press the advantage. Blackguard squadrons, move to intercept any retreating vessels. Keep them contained." Amid the chaos, Neris's console lit up with new readings. Her voice cut through the din, urgency sharp in every word. "Admiral, I'm detecting increased energy output from their rear formation. They're preparing a secondary assault wave." Jones didn't hesitate. "Faulkner, prepare the artillery to counter their reinforcements. We can't let them regroup." The Zin's second wave surged forward, but this time, the humans were ready. Guided by precise commands from the Erebus, the fleet concentrated fire on the enemy's weaker points, exploiting gaps in their defenses. Vollander's voice joined the tactical chatter, coordinating his ships with human squadrons in seamless maneuvers. The Acherna's swift strikes created openings that the Erebus's heavy guns exploited mercilessly. Despite their losses, the Zin fought fiercely. Their ships moved with an almost predatory elegance, each motion calculated to inflict maximum damage. Yet, where the Zin relied on brute force and precision, the humans wielded adaptability like a weapon, turning chaos into opportunity with every move. Where the Zin relied on sheer power, the humans used ingenuity, turning the chaotic battlefield into an arena of tactical mastery. "Admiral, their forces are breaking," Lane reported. "Over 60% of their fleet is gone, and their formations are collapsing." Jones nodded, his gaze never leaving the tactical display. "Good. Let's finish this." As the final Zin ships fell, the battlefield grew silent, save for the hum of damaged systems and the flicker of dying fires in the darkness. The Erebus stood battered, its hull scorched, shields flickering but unbroken, surrounded by its fleetmates, each bearing the scars of a hard-fought but victorious battle. Debris from Zin ships drifted across the void, a haunting echo of the battle's ferocity. Jones turned to Vollander, his expression somber. "This wasn't just an attack, it was a defense. Whatever they're protecting, whether it's the satellite or something far greater, we need to uncover it before it's too late." Vollander inclined his head, his scales catching the faint light. "It seems likely. The question is, why?" Neris added, her voice steady but edged with curiosity. "Their tactics were deliberate, almost desperate. Whatever this satellite represents, it's more than a mere artifact to them." Jones nodded, tension radiating from him. "Then we'll find out. Fan, continue your analysis. Vollander, ensure your ships are ready for anything. If the Zin come back, we need to be prepared." The bridge buzzed with activity as the crew set to work repairing damage and regrouping. Outside, the satellite loomed, its faint energy pulses a haunting reminder of the secret still hidden within. Jones stared at it for a long moment, his mind churning with possibilities and questions that refused easy answers. For now, they had won. But the war for the truth was just beginning. The Erebus maintained its steady orbit, while the surrounding human fleet worked tirelessly to regroup. Inside the ship, Admiral Jones stood with his arms crossed at the center of the bridge, his eyes fixed on the tactical display that now pulsed with data streams from the enigmatic satellite. Every flicker of light on the console represented a mystery waiting to be unraveled, and a danger lurking just beyond comprehension. "We've run the simulations," Dr. Fan announced, her voice cutting through the hum of activity. She stood beside a holographic representation of the satellite, its intricate geometry rotating slowly. "The results confirm that if we adjust the satellite's position relative to the system's stars, the radiation pattern can be corrected. Achernar planet's environment will stabilize, That's good news, Jones replied, his tone measured. But I'm guessing there's more. Fan nodded grimly. The simulations also suggest that this satellite alone isn't sufficient to generate the interference we've observed. There must be others, likely positioned around the system's other stars. Jones's jaw clenched. So, we're looking at a network. Exactly, Fan confirmed. And until we access this satellite's systems, we can't pinpoint the others. Remote access remains impossible. Whatever security protocols are in place, they're ancient and unlike anything we've encountered. Neris, who had been studying a console nearby, turned her gaze to Fan. Her bioluminescent patches glowed faintly in rhythm with her speech. If we cannot access it remotely, then the only solution is physical proximity. Someone will need to go out there. That's a hell of a trip, Major Faulkner interjected. Getting close to a satellite bathed in radiation from a Wolf-Rayet star isn't exactly a walk in the park. Agreed, Fan said, her attention fixed on the rapidly changing data. But we don't have another choice. We'll need to deploy a team directly to the satellite to bypass its security and access its systems. Jones exhaled, his decision already forming. All right. Faulkner, you'll lead the mission. Take Fan and a small team capable of handling the satellite's systems and ensuring mission security. Coordinate with engineering to modify a shuttle for maximum radiation shielding. And make it fast. We're on borrowed time. Volunder stepped closer to the group, his voice calm but weighted with concern. You will not go alone. This system is as much our burden as yours. Neris has the expertise needed to assist with the satellite's systems. She will join your team. Jones regarded him for a moment before nodding. Fair enough. Neris, prepare to depart immediately. Faulkner, coordinate with her and ensure the team is ready. We don't have time to waste. The modified shuttle, its hull reinforced with reflective alloys and additional shielding, launched from the Erebus with a faint hum. Inside the shuttle, Major Faulkner stood at the helm, his attention locked on the controls. Beside him, Dr. Fan monitored the satellite's energy fluctuations through a portable console, while Neris meticulously calibrated the remote access equipment. The Achernar science officer's bioluminescent patches pulsed faintly in rhythm with her measured breathing, a clear sign she was immersed in the task at hand. Radiation levels are within operational limits, Fan reported, her voice steady despite the tension. But the energy spikes are erratic. It's as if the satellite is reacting to our presence. It knows we're here, Faulkner muttered, his hands tightening on the controls. Let's hope it doesn't decide to shoot first. Neris glanced up, her iridescent eyes reflecting the glow of her console. The satellite's design suggests defensive mechanisms, but I detect no active weapons. Still, we must remain cautious. Fan nodded. Agreed. We'll focus on bypassing the interference and gaining access to its systems. If this fails, we'll regroup and reassess. The engineers worked in tandem, deploying a series of drones equipped with signal amplifiers. The small devices hovered between the shuttle and the satellite, their intricate designs absorbing and redirecting the chaotic radiation to create a stable corridor for the team's equipment. Drones are in position, Faulkner announced. Neris, Fan, you're up. Fan adjusted her headset and began inputting commands. The console before her displayed a web of encrypted patterns, each more complex than the last. Attempting to establish a connection. The satellite's encryption protocols are unlike anything I've seen. It's intentional, almost intelligent. Neris leaned closer, her hands moving swiftly across the console. It's more than intelligent, it's adaptive. Each attempt to break through prompts a response. Whoever designed this anticipated intrusion. Then we outthink them, Faulkner said firmly. Stay on it. The shuttle shuddered as another wave of radiation surged through the system. The shield generators whined in protest, but held. Fan and Neris worked in silence, the tension between them palpable as they waded deeper into the satellite's defenses. Minutes stretched into an hour, each breakthrough met with new challenges. Finally, Neris's voice broke the silence. We're in. Fan exhaled sharply, relief momentarily flickering across her face. Data stream established. I'm accessing the core systems now. The holographic display before them illuminated, projecting a detailed map of the Achernar system. Multiple points of light glowed near each star, their positions precise and immutable. Fan's eyes widened. They're all here. The satellite network. Neris pointed to the display, her tone urgent. These connections, they're synchronized. The interference patterns aren't random. They're coordinated. This network is actively controlling the radiation across the system. The satellite's data streams grew stronger, flooding the Erebus with a torrent of encrypted patterns. Aboard the shuttle stationed in the satellite's shadow, the team worked relentlessly, their efforts synchronizing with the Erebus as Neris's discovery set the next stage in motion. "Dr. Fan," Neris began, her voice edged with urgency. "These patterns, some of them match fragments from the Erebus's historical archives, but they don't align with anything modern. This technology, it's old, very old." Fan adjusted the holographic display, her brow furrowed as streams of alien script scrolled past. "It's more than old. Everything about this satellite suggests it was designed with a purpose far beyond simple energy manipulation. Look at these calibrations. This system wasn't just maintaining balance. It was engineered to control the radiation output down to molecular precision." Major Faulkner leaned over, his expression grim. "And now it's weaponized, deliberately altered to destabilize the Achernar planet." "That's the problem," Fan said, gesturing to the highlighted sections of the data. "These changes aren't consistent with the satellite's original programming. Someone, or something, modified this system." Neris pointed to a fragment of corrupted data flashing on her console. This isn't Zin. Their technology doesn't work like this." "Then whose is it?" Faulkner pressed. Fan froze momentarily, then exhaled sharply. "I don't know. But whatever it is, it predates all known records." Neris hesitated before speaking again, her voice quieter. "There's something else. Buried in the system's architecture, these fragments, they reference a name, Ulhahari. It's repeated multiple times, as if it's integral to the satellite's design." The name hung in the air, unfamiliar and ominous. Faulkner frowned. "That doesn't match any known civilization." "It wouldn't," Fan replied, her voice soft but heavy with implication. "If these Ulhahari are as ancient as this technology suggests, they may have existed long before humanity even recorded its first history." Neris leaned closer to her console, her bioluminescent patches dimming slightly as she studied the data. "That's not possible," she murmured, her voice edged with disbelief. "This string line, this signature, it matches human neural patterns. Perfectly." Fan's head snapped up, her brow furrowed. "What are you saying, Neris?" "I'm saying," Neris replied, her tone cautious but firm, "that whoever created this didn't just understand how to manipulate energy or radiation. They understood humanity. They built this system with your kind in mind." The weight of her words hung in the air, unspoken questions forming in the minds of everyone present. Then, a sudden spike in energy readings cut through the conversation. The satellite's internal systems surged, and the shuttle trembled as its shields adjusted to compensate. Neris's console lit up with new data, her voice sharp and clear. "The satellite's network is reactivating. I'm detecting 2 additional nodes, one near the white dwarf, the other near the orange K-type star. 3 major satellites," Faulkner muttered. "Makes sense with a trinary system." "Exactly," Fan added. "The smaller relays we saw on the map, they're like signal repeaters. The 3 major satellites act as primary routers, broadcasting data across the network, while the smaller ones amplify and distribute the signals throughout the system. That's why this network has been so effective. It's layered. And because these satellites resemble natural formations, the Achernar wouldn't have guessed they were the source of the problem." Neris's gaze shifted to Faulkner, If we can reposition this satellite, we can disrupt the synchronization enough to neutralize its effect on the planet. And the other two? Faulkner asked. They'll have to be dealt with too, Fan said. But without direct access, we'll need to rely on the data we've extracted here to pinpoint their positions and functions. Before Faulkner could respond, Nairis's voice broke through the hum of the shuttle.
Major, she said sharply, her gaze fixed on the satellite's interface. I'm detecting movement, large-scale Zin signatures. They're converging on our position through the synchronization network. Admiral Jones, Faulkner said through the comms, his tone tinged with surprise and urgency. The satellite system just flagged multiple Zin signatures, a large fleet. They're converging fast on this location. Jones's eyes narrowed, his focus sharpening as he processed the warning. Before he could respond, another incoming transmission interrupted. The display shifted, revealing Admiral Murphy's stern face against the backdrop of Earth's orbital defense platform. Her voice carried the weight of battle. Jones, Murphy said, her tone cutting through the calm static with urgency. Whatever you're doing out there, it's rattling them. Their attacks here aren't just probes anymore. They're escalating fast, hitting us with everything they've got. Whatever you've uncovered, the Zin are desperate to stop you. Copy that, Jones replied. We'll handle things here. Keep me updated. Will do, Murphy said. Her voice softened slightly, but her determination was clear. Good luck, Eric, and don't let them stop you. The transmission ended, leaving the bridge in a tense silence. Jones turned to Lane, who was already inputting commands into his console. Admiral, Lane reported, his voice grim. The Zin fleet has entered our sensor's range. We're confirming the satellite's data. They're coming in force. The tactical display updated, showing the Zin ships that were now visible to the Erebus's systems. Their sharp, angular designs cut through the void, their formation tight and predatory. Jones's gaze hardened. Volander, he called, turning to the Achernar captain. Coordinate with Thalassa and hold your position. Protect the shuttle at all costs. We will protect you. Volander inclined his head, his iridescent scales reflecting the bridge's light. Count on us, my friend. Jones turned to the comms, his voice firm and resolute. Faulkner, the Zin fleet is closing in. We don't know why they care so much for this, but start the repositioning process immediately. We'll hold them off, but we need those satellites moving now. Lane, Jones continued, deploy all squadrons immediately. Faulkner's team is exposed, and we need to keep them covered. Yes, sir, Lane replied, swiftly inputting commands into his console. His orders triggered a cascade of activity aboard the Erebus, the ship surging to life as squadrons launched from their bays, streaking into formation to intercept the incoming fleet. The Erebus stood defiant in the chaos of the Achernar system, its shields blazing as the Zin fleet appeared on the tactical display, closing in with terrifying speed. Fighters streaked into the void, engaging in fierce maneuvers as the first volleys of plasma fire illuminated the darkness. The Zin fleet, larger and more coordinated than ever, pressed forward with relentless precision, their angular ships cutting through the void like predators in a feeding frenzy. Shields holding at 76%, but we're taking heavy fire, Lane called out. Their smaller ships are trying to break through to the shuttle. Admiral Jones leaned forward, his voice cutting through the chaos. Keep the pressure on their command vessels. If we break their coordination, we cripple their advance. All squadrons intercept anything heading toward Faulkner. The Erebus's weapon systems roared to life, particle cannons lancing through the void. A series of precise strikes lit up the tactical display as Zin ships erupted into clouds of debris, their formations splintering under the assault. Still, they pushed forward, their desperation palpable. Inside the shuttle, Faulkner gripped the console, his focus unshaken despite the tremors reverberating through the ship. Fan Nairis, we don't have much time. The Zin are throwing everything they have at us. We need to get back to the Erebus. Fan's eyes never left her screen as her hands moved with practiced precision. We're nearly there, but the synchronization process is fighting us. It's like the satellite doesn't want to be reset.
It's not about want, Neris replied, her voice calm despite the tension. This system was built long ago, but its defenses are remarkably sophisticated. Whoever designed it anticipated interference, and their ingenuity is undeniable. Then outthink it, Faulkner said sharply. We don't have the luxury of losing this fight. Neris's console flashed as she made rapid adjustments, her tone measured. The interference is breaking, she stated. We have access. On the Erebus, the tactical display shifted as Lane called out, Admiral, the satellite's synchronization is stabilizing. Energy readings across the system are changing. Radiation levels are dropping. And they're shutting down, Lane said, disbelief coloring his voice. Their systems are failing across the board. Jones watched as the Zin fleet dissolved into disarray, their ships drifting lifelessly in the void. It's the satellites, he said quietly. They've lost whatever was driving them. In the shuttle, Fan's voice broke through the comms. Admiral, the synchronization process is complete. The satellites are aligned, and the network is stabilizing radiation across the system. Achernar planet should be safe soon. Confirmed, Neris added. The network isn't just balancing radiation, it's severing the Zin's link to their systems. They relied on this network, and now it's turned against them. Jones processed the scene as the Zin fleet faltered, their ships falling into eerie silence. The disruption of the network had rendered them inert, an outcome they had fought desperately to prevent. Whatever connection existed between the satellites and the Zin, it ran deeper than anyone had anticipated. Admiral, Lane called, his voice cutting through the silence. We're getting a transmission from Admiral Murphy. It's urgent. Put her through, Jones ordered. Murphy's face appeared on the screen, the backdrop of Earth's Orbital Defense Command alive with frantic activity. Jones, she said, her tone sharp. What the hell is going on out there? The Zin, they're shutting down everywhere. Their ships, their weapons, even their troops. It's like someone flipped a switch. Jones exhaled, his gaze locked on the drifting Zin vessels. We've realigned the satellites. Whatever they're tied to in this system, it's been severed. They're finished. Murphy's expression darkened as she processed his words. This isn't just a victory, Jones. If the Zin are connected to this network, then we've uncovered something far bigger than we ever imagined. Agreed, Jones said. But we don't have the full picture yet. We'll finish what we started here and head back to Seoul. For now, focus on securing the system. We don't know if they will get back alive, so destroy all of them. Every single ship. We will do the same here. Murphy's reply was curt. Understood. Good luck, Eric. And keep your guard up. This is just the beginning. The transmission ended, leaving the bridge in tense silence. Jones turned to the tactical display, his voice sharp and commanding. All ships, this is Admiral Eric Jones. Destroy every single Zin vessel. Leave nothing intact. Outside, the battlefield was eerily calm. The once mighty Zin fleet had been obliterated, their ships reduced to atomized fragments glimmering faintly in the void, a testament to humanity's technological precision. On the Erebus, the crew exhaled collectively, their relief mingling with the weight of what they had just endured. Vollander's voice came through the comms, steady and touched with gratitude. I don't know how to express my gratitude, Admiral. Humanity has done more for Achernar than we could have ever imagined. Today, hope has returned to my people. Jones nodded, the weight of the moment pressing down on him. I'm glad, my friend, but it's not over yet, he said. Fan Neris, prepare for debriefing. We need answers, and fast. As the crew of the Erebus began their recovery operations, the satellite loomed in the distance, its faint energy pulses a haunting reminder of the power they had just unleashed. The Zin were defeated, but the questions they left behind were far from answered. A few minutes later, the shuttle docked with the Erebus smoothly, the hum of the magnetic seals locking into place barely audible over the low buzz of activity on the bridge. Admiral Eric Jones stood at the central console, his gaze fixed on the tactical display. As the airlock hissed open, Major Faulkner, Dr. Fan, and Neris, stepped onto the bridge, their expressions a mix of exhaustion and determination. "Admiral," Faulkner began, his tone clipped but steady, "we've extracted critical data from the satellite. Dr. Fan and Naris will explain." Fan stepped forward, holding a compact data module. "Sir, the satellite's systems revealed information about a civilization we've never encountered before. The name Ulhahari appeared repeatedly in the network's architecture. While we don't have the full picture yet, it's clear that they designed the satellite system, and possibly the entire synchronization network." Naris, standing beside her, added, "The Ulhahari technology is far older than anything we've encountered. Its design is intricate, adaptive, and purpose-driven. In some ways, a lot similar with your technology. Whoever they were, their understanding of radiation manipulation and gravitational dynamics surpasses ours by orders of magnitude." Naris hesitated, her bioluminescent patches flickering faintly. "There's something else, Admiral," she said cautiously. "While analyzing the satellite's core systems, we found a string line, a signature embedded in its architecture. It matches human neural data patterns. It's identical." Fan nodded, her tone measured but firm. "We confirmed it during the extraction. It's not just similar, it's a perfect match." "Whoever the Ulhahari were, they must have known about humanity or something strikingly close to us." Jones's eyes narrowed as he absorbed the revelation. "And yet, there's no record of them in our history." "None," Fan replied, "which makes this even more unsettling. If they knew of us, Admiral, it wasn't by coincidence." Jones studied them for a moment before turning to Lane. "What do you think, Lieutenant Commander?" Lane, who had been monitoring the bridge systems, looked up from his console. "It's hard to say without deeper analysis, sir, but if this network was designed to stabilize a trinary system and it's this old, we're dealing with something far beyond conventional understanding. The data might help us learn more about both the system and the Zin's interest in it." Jones nodded, his expression resolute. "Get that data secured. Fan, I want a preliminary report ready before we leave this system. Lane, double-check our sensor logs. If there's anything else we've missed, I want to know." "Yes, sir," both replied in unison. As the team dispersed to their stations, the hum of the ship's systems filled the air, underscored by the quiet relief of a crew that had survived a battle they weren't sure they could win. "Admiral," Lane called from his station. "Sensors confirm the radiation levels across the system remain stable. Achenar planet is no longer under threat from the network's interference. Environmental conditions are improving steadily." Jones exhaled slowly, allowing himself a moment to process the news. "Good. Relay that to Volunder. Let them know their planet is safe." Volunder's voice came through the comms, steady and filled with sincerity. "I don't know how to express my gratitude, Admiral. Humanity has done more for Achenar than we could have ever imagined. Today, hope has returned to my people." "You fought alongside us," Jones replied. "This victory is yours as much as it is ours. Stay vigilant, Volunder. There's still much we don't understand about this system." "Always," Volunder said. "We will remain watchful." The conversation was interrupted by Dr. Fan's voice, sharp and filled with curiosity. "Admiral, I'm seeing something unusual in the black hole's readings." Jones turned sharply toward her station. "What kind of unusual?" Fan worked swiftly at her console, bringing up a detailed holographic display of the black hole. "The event horizon, it's shifting. There's an energy pattern emerging, organized, rhythmic. It's faint, but growing stronger." Naris, leaning over to study the display, frowned. "It's responding to the energy flow from the satellites. The synchronization process wasn't just stabilizing the system, it's feeding energy directly into the black hole." Jones's gaze hardened. "Lane, confirm this." Lane nodded, his fingers moving swiftly over his controls. "Confirmed, sir. The black hole's behavior is changing. Whatever energy the satellites redirected, it's causing activity. The readings are unlike anything we've seen before." The bridge fell silent as the implications settled over them. The black hole, a constant but distant presence at the edge of the system, now seemed far more than a passive force. It pulsed faintly on the display, a reminder of its potential power. Jones straightened, his tone firm. "We don't have the resources to deal with this now. Our priority is returning to Earth. We'll inform the UED and let them decide how to proceed. For now, we've done what we came to do." He turned to the comms, addressing Volander. "Captain, we're detecting activity in the black hole. We're not sure what it means, but it's something your people should monitor closely. I'll report this to the UED and ensure it's investigated."
Volander's voice came through calm but resolute. "Understood, Admiral. With everything we've learned from humanity, we'll take our next steps wisely. This alliance has given us more than just survival. It's shown us the path to growth." As the Erebus began preparations for departure, the crew moved with quiet efficiency. The tactical display showed the black hole growing faintly brighter, its energy patterns steady but unyielding.
Jones stood at the central console, watching the display as the Achenar system faded behind them. "Set a course for Earth," he ordered, his voice low but steady. The Erebus's engines flared as the ship turned toward home. In the distance, the black hole pulsed faintly, its rhythm slow and deliberate, as though anticipating something yet to come. But the true mystery lay with humanity and the Ulhahari. What was the connection? How could this have happened when humanity had no record of their existence? Surely, somewhere in the void, the answers waited. Hey there again. I'm glad you've come so far. Hope you enjoyed the video. Remember to hit the like button and the subscribe button. This is really important to the channel. Really important. And I have one more thing for you. I've chosen another video for you to watch. Just click the card here, or here if you want the whole playlist. See you there.